And Holly, and our secretary present today, thank you. The Assistant Secretary, Mr. Majalan Neal, we're going to come to absence as well. Our Sergeant at Arms, Mr. Gregory Bowen, he's out of state and moving. Congratulations, Gregory. And graduating, getting a master's, I think, this weekend, so congratulations on that account as well. Our immediate past president, Ms. Kimberly Ronalds, and the vice president, yours truly. Now I'd like to introduce Ms. Eula Richard, who is the chair of the NAA Nominations Committee. Ms. Richard.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I'm going to read the ballot. We have the election coming up. Okay. President, Mark Ford, Financial Secretary, that's still open. Parliamentarian, Frederick Roberts and Karen Sonia. Historian, Donna Glover and Reverend Holly. Present. Chaplain, Lilani Hagel. That's the ballot.
Thank you, Ms. Richard, for introducing the ballot of the candidates for the 2023-2025 administrative year. At this time, I'd like for Dr. Michael McFrazier, Interim President of Prairie View A&M University, our dear alma mater, to come and share with us the state of address of Prairie View A&M University.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I say good afternoon to you all. It's so good to see you. I'm delighted to be here. And again, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Well, I count it an honor as well as a privilege to stand before you this afternoon as acting president of Prairie View A&M University, the Hill, as it's so affectionately called. And anytime I stand and I introduce Prairie View, I really add that tagline, the Hill. And I'd like to share with you why. Very personal part of me. Many of you have been around. I've seen you at NAA conventions. You've been here on the campus. I'm no stranger to Prairie View. I've actually been here for 25 years. And this place is near and dear to my heart. But Prairie View A&M University, the Hill. So when I was a little boy living in the country, well, let me just say maybe the suburbs of Paris, Texas. Can I just put it like that? Does it sound better? Our house was built on a hill. And as I reflected on my time living in that house, I can recall it provided for us a vantage point. We were up, we were able to look across the flatlands of East Texas, cleared field, and we could see all of the cars that were coming down. So we were high up. Our house was built on a hill. I can remember seeing my dad when he would come home from work. I could see him coming around the bend, and I would scurry and make sure I finished up any chores that I hadn't done so I wouldn't get in trouble. That hill was a fun place to be when I would ride my bike going down the hill very fast. And as a little boy, when friends would come over, we would even, maybe some of you used to do this on the hill, we would all take turns rolling down the hill to see who could get down to the bottom fastest. When people used to refer, if you're looking for the McFraziers, yeah, go down Route 2, and their house is the house that's on the hill. So, all of my life, that hill still resonates in my mind, and it gave me a vantage point to look higher, and it gave me a vantage point to dream bigger. Well, I am privileged to be associated with this hill, Prairie View A&M University. And I have resided here for the last 25 years. This hill has stood for 147 years, and it has elevated the view of countless individuals such as yourselves, and has served as the educational foundation for some of the nation's best and brightest. The university certainly is renowned for producing productive engineers, architects, corporate leaders, artists, nurses, and educators. Although I am not an alum, Prairie View A&M University has most definitely elevated my view and provided for me, this first generation son of parents who were unable to finish high school. First generation, one generation from the cotton fields. Both my parents were sharecroppers. This university has elevated my aspirations and allowed me into places and spaces never dreamed. This university. And again, to be selected to serve as acting president is one of the greatest highlights of my professional career. And I want to publicly thank you, the alumni, for your support and for your vote of confidence and me moving the institution forward during this period of time. Now, June 1st, it's right around the corner. And I want you to know that I'm committed to ensuring a very smooth transition to the new administration. Be advised that Dr. Tamikia LeGrand and I have met and we have communicated regularly during my tenure. I can assure you that she stands and is committed to the mission of achieving excellence and relevance in teaching, research, and service. And I will work closely with her as she deems necessary to further the legacy of this historic institution. So with that being said, I would like to provide for you just a few highlights. State of the university address, if you will. Basically things, notes of excellence for 2022-2023 academic year. These things highlight the wonderful, innovative, and exciting things that are happening here at your alma mater, your nurturing mother, this place that elevated your view, the Hill. As you may be aware, and if you're not, Prairie View A&M University received a $40 million grant. That's the largest competitive research award in Prairie View's history. $40 million grant. And it will launch the first, Prairie View will be the first HBCU to lead a national center for infrastructure transformation. National Center for Information Transformation will be the first HBCU in history of the U.S. Department of Transportation. This national Transportation Center will display to the world the university's long-held transportation research expertise and the combined research capacity and capability of the Texas A&M University system. It will be led by Dr. Judy Perkins, a civil engineer. This project is a game changer for this institution. It was very competitive, and you should be overjoyed that Prairie View was awarded this grant. More to come. We're excited about the grand opening of the $70 million classroom and research building for the Roy G. Perry College of Engineering, scheduled to open this fall. This building will be 106,000 square feet. It will offer lab space designed to support multidisciplinary research, interdisciplinary collaborations, and the classroom space that will be dedicated for instruction. The new building promises to draw talent to Prairie View for our renowned engineering program. If you have not driven to the backside of campus to see this monstrosity, it is a beautiful building, and what will occur in this building in the future will benefit our students and our faculty greatly. Following the recent approval by the Texas A&M University system and the Board of Regents, as well as the coordinating board, the university will establish a School of Public and Allied Health, adding a new academic unit to our arsenal. Adding this unit, we will be among many of firsts in the healthcare field. This is a little bittersweet for me, and here's why. The degree programs in the Department of Health and Kinesiology, which is a part of the Whitlow R. Green College of Education, will transition to this new school. So for many of you, you know that health and kinesiology has been a part of the College of Education for years. But the Health and Kinesiology Department, under the leadership of Dr. Angela Branch Vitale, over the last several years, has grown to approximately 900 students. That's larger than some colleges on the campus. Before her departure, the immediate past president, Ruth J. Simmons, sought confirmation from the Brown Foundation to use $1 million that they had donated to establish this new school. There's a new major in public health that will start this fall. And of our incoming freshman class, the last that I heard, we have already over 80 students who would declare this as their new major. So it is a highly sought after degree program, and we're excited about this new school of public and allied health. The Prairie View A&M University College of Business won a national award on research excellence. The Wharton Research Data Services and the Social Science Research Network named Prairie View A&M University as its 2023 Innovative Award winner for the North America region in April. This Innovation Award series elevates the visibility and the impact of focused research in the College of Business. Awards are presented to rising business schools each year to highlight their innovation and research excellence. So we're very proud to have won this very competitive award, and you will hear more of the research that will come from the College of Business. Prairie View A&M University was awarded a $12 million grant by the U.S. Department of Education for the Leaders Program. The LEADERS program stands for Leading Equity Across Diverse Environments with Revolutionary Synergy, LEADERS. This partnership, developed by our own Dr. Beverly Sandy, who is a faculty member in the Whitlow R. Green College of Education. This program will serve 206 diverse teacher residents and leaders in the K-12 setting for 5 large and rural school districts: Houston ISD, Brenham ISD, Dallas ISD, Hempstead ISD, and Shelton ISD. This innovative approach will allow teachers, that means beginning teachers as well as those coming to the alternative way of teaching, to do 1 year of residency in a classroom before taking that classroom on. What we know with the data is teachers who are thrust in the classroom without support generally exit the profession within a year. So this program will allow them 1 year to be with a master teacher for their support and understanding on how to conduct their own classroom for 1 entire year. And then the classroom will be turned over to them. And we believe this will allow more teachers to have the strength and the skills to stay within their profession. Staying with education, I am very proud to stand before you to say that in 2018, I was asked to take on the role of Dean of the Whitlow R. Green College of Education to deal with some major issues there that really would, if not corrected, would eliminate our being able to have a college of education and produce teachers just in 2018. But I'm proud to stand before you to share with you how things can change when individuals commit themselves to doing the work. The State Board of Education, SBEC, at its February 10th meeting of 2023, they met and they approved commendations to recognize Prairie View A&M University for its performance in the following areas: rigorous and robust preparation of first test pass rates in teacher shortage areas like English language arts and reading, 100% pass rate. 100% pass rate. And then preparing educators that Texas needs. Prairie View A&M University is the largest producer of teachers of African American descent in the state. And so we're excited that we are preparing teachers that go out and meet the needs of our students. These commendations reflect the dedication and the commitment of the faculty, staff, and administration to raise the academic profile of the Whitlow R. Green College of Education and to ensure student success. So from 2018, where we were in the throes of losing our ability to retain the college, to 2023, where the state is now recognizing Prairie View for its excellent work. We are so grateful for the faculty and staff who've worked hard, and for our students who will graduate. Many of them this week completely certified. That means having taken all of the exams necessary to become a fully certified teacher. That's a first, even at this graduation. Many of our students would have to take the exam after they finish. They would have to repeat and take it multiple times. But we're working with our students to build their confidence and their self-efficacy to be able to pass those exams on their first opportunity. Tomorrow, and as I come to a close, tomorrow we are poised to confer 1,037 degrees at the 141st spring commencement. The largest. The graduates will join you, the over 80,000 proud Prairie View alumni who treasure this institution for its compelling history and its vast potential. Tomorrow, we will hood 18 doctoral students, the most in the history of Prairie View. It's important for you to understand why that is important. As we are a R2 Carnegie classified institution, the increased production of doctoral graduates is important to our retaining that designation. So we will need to continue to produce the number of PhD graduates, which at this time is 2021. We will need to ensure that we produce that, at least that many each year. And the number 18 for this cycle, combined with those who graduated last summer as well as last fall, puts us over that number, and we're excited that we're able to do that. Again, as I close, I say I'm grateful to have the opportunity to serve as acting president, to keep moving forward and to continue the legacy of this great institution. I look forward to working with the new administration and continuing to work and interact with you as we work to ensure the motto of this institution, which is Prairie View A&M University produces productive people. Thank you for this time, and I appreciate the opportunity to speak to you today. I am scheduled to be a part of the President's dinner tonight. We are entertaining our commencement speaker, the outstanding and renowned Ruth J. Simmons. It is in Houston, downtown Houston, and it starts at 6 o'clock. So I'm going to be around for a little bit, but I thought I would pause here to see if there are any questions or anything of clarity from anything that I've said before I relinquish the microphone. Does he have?
Oh, I was just waiting, but I do have a question as far as some of the concerns that we've had with the Alumni Association and just knowing that your tenure is about to be up, but how do you feel, or how active have you been in being able to work with our president, Mark Falls, and Chancellor Sharp?
Certainly. I've met with both. Pastor Falls and I have met. Certainly I've had interactions with the Chancellor. And the new president coming in, Dr. LeGrand, is aware and will also continue to help facilitate the concerns voiced by the NAA. Well, again, thank you so much. I appreciate this opportunity to speak, and God bless you, and God bless Prairie View A&M University.
Thank you, Dr. McFrazier. Wonderful. Dr. McFrazier, there were 5 things that resonated in my head as you were speaking, and you repeated them several times. Recognition, retention, commitment, preparation, productivity. And I can just see us here on the hill looking over the horizon, and we too will reach that mountaintop. So thank you very much for those words. Those just resonated with me. So now to follow on, we will have our newly appointed Ms. Phyllis Darden-Caldwell, Director of Alumni Affairs Office, followed by Dr. John Gardner, the Director of Athletics Department.
The Office of Development.
I'm sorry. Okay, Office of Development. Andrea Sankey, I'm sorry, I missed one person. Ms. Sankey, are you here? I am. Okay, thank you. Followed by Phyllis, Darden-Caldwell, and then Dr. Gardner. Okay?
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you today. I'll go ahead and dive right into it. So I wanted to start by giving an overview of fundraising. I'm not sure the last time that my office had the opportunity to present to you, but this is my first time since taking this seat. So I'm just gonna go over a brief overview of our fundraising efforts over the last few years. Okay, so the first slide that I have before you is just a overview of our fundraising. Naturally, of course, Dr. Simmons was with us a little bit before this, but this sort of just gives a trajectory of our fundraising efforts under her leadership, ranging from fiscal year FY18, which would be 2018 to 2019, going through fiscal year 22, which is the last fiscal year to close. So FY22 FY21 through 22. So just to, I'm not sure how clear you all can see these numbers. Can you all see them okay? Yes, ma'am. Okay. So just to give a little bit of color to a few of them. As you can see, there was a gradual increase for the first 3 years of those charts, of this chart. It correlates, of course, with Dr. Simmons' leadership and her strong focus on fundraising efforts. Naturally, the outlier would be FY21. That is the year that we received the Mackenzie Scott $50 million gift, and we also received the Charles Butt $5 million gift. When you subtract those two as outliers, we landed that year around 12.7 million. And last year we closed at 11.5. The projections for both of those years, outside of those outliers, was between 10 and 12 million. So we did fairly well, and as you can see, with that increase under Dr. Simmons' leadership, we've just seen exponential growth in our fundraising revenue for that time. For this fiscal year, we're set to land similarly between 10 and 12 million. This slide before you takes that 5-year average, and it gives the donor composition of what those numbers are made up of. I'm sorry? It gives the sort of 5-year average of what that donor composition is made up of. So also just to give a little bit of color to these numbers, again, the friends are where Mackenzie Scott and Charles Butt, those with no affiliation to the university and no corporate affiliation lie. That gift was a direct gift from that individual with no affiliation. That landed at around 43%. Our corporate average over that 5-year period is about 23. Our alumni average is 14. Our foundation average is 12. Association organizations, that's going to be a combination of both alum and non-alum organizations. So for instance, that could be fraternity or sorority groups, It could also be some corporate gifts that don't necessarily classify under any other category. If it's a concentration of alum at a corporation that have formed a group, if you will, or a Black Employee Network group that's made a gift, that's where we classify associations and organizations. And lastly, alumni organizations we classify as fraternity and sorority groups. So just to highlight some of the successes that we've seen over this period and we're continuing to see this fiscal year, there is constant and continued donor interest, particularly in the corporate and found field. Even with Dr. Simmons' departure, we expected there to be somewhat of a downturn. We simply have not experienced that. One of the things that we're very proud of is collectively as a university, the university has done a really phenomenal job of taking some of those relationships that initially came under Dr. Simmons' leadership, really showcasing the value of our students in the campus and translating those relationships to the university. So we're seeing a lot of continued donor interest, new donor interest, and donors that we expect to continue to give upgrade and renew. Related to that, we've seen in the last couple of years the creation of what we call scholarship programs. So you all are likely familiar with our Halliburton model, BP program, and a lot of our corporations are interested in doing the same, where they're making substantial investments in campus by way of scholarships. They're forming cohorts of students, significantly investing in them, both academically as well as from a leadership development standpoint, and we're seeing that translate directly into job opportunities with that company, as well as further investment. And also related to that, of course, consistent donor coverage in the media. We've also seen that translate into newfound donor interest, where we might have a company that calls and says, hey, we see that our competitor is heavily invested in Prairie. They're giving it that level, at this level. How do we continue to invest, or how do we or start investing similar to the way that they are? On the other side of that, I do want to share some of our challenges and some that might be of particular interest to our alumni group. Donor stewardship. So we definitely recognize that we are behind in endowment reporting. Frankly, I do get varying reports with some donors not receiving a report in 6 months. Some might not have received one in 2 years. That's something that we are definitely aiming to mitigate. In our immediate mitigation strategy, I'll go into detail momentarily, but for donors that are requesting reports, we're definitely responding to those ad hoc and aiming to honor all of those requests as they come in. Automated reports will begin going out to all those who we know have not received a report in the month of June. Staff transitions, I'll also go into that detail in just a moment. A number of my staff members are with me today. Similar to what a lot of different development offices have experienced over the last couple of years. We are also victims to the Great Migration. Great Resignation. We've seen a healthy amount of turnover that we recognize as problematic. And so one of the things that we really work to do is create sustainable roles, sustainable opportunities, and ensure that we have the right people in the right roles, so that we don't experience that turnover at the same rate that we have. And the last is best practice establishment, which I think supports both of the other two challenges that we faced. When it comes to just standard reporting, standard reports out, one of the things that Dr. McFrazier shared is that we produce the most African-American educators in the state. We know that is something that we always talk about. It's something that we do not publicize enough. So one of the charges of my office is to make that clear in writing, make that clear in concert with the communications and marketing office, in the media, and make sure that type of information is standard things that we are sharing across all of our donor bases. So as mentioned with donor stewardship, we know that reporting is an issue. One of the things that we've recently done is enter a new, what we call client relationship manager contract It's an automated system where in the fall, all of our donors will start to receive a report automatically. That's not something that you'll have to request. It's not something that a staff member will manually have to produce for you when they have capacity. It's something that will be part of an automated system that's generated for donors at the same time every semester. With that will also come a listing of who your scholarship recipients are in concert with their contact information so that you have access to them should you choose. Talked about that already. Fall state of the university. One of the things that my office will also do in the fall is we will invite a subset of donors to what we are calling a State of the University report specific to development. So our next annual report will publish and be released during this time, and we'll invite our donors to come through that in person, if desired, but that report will also be mailed out. Also related, I just touched a little bit on student access with donors being able to have that contact information, but we also will automate thank you letters and thank you cards to our donors in the fall. So that will also be part of that automated system where students that receive that scholarship will also be prompted to complete a thank you card and letter to their donors, and it automatically be loaded to you. And also just wanted to name the formal engagement plan. We've been engaged in this work for the better part of a year and working in concert with career services in all of the colleges. Some of them we meet with as often as weekly, just to make sure there's synergy across our offices that's working to the benefit of our students and our donors. For our students, this provides the preparation that they need to really engage with our donors and engage most specifically with our corporate donors that can aid them in accessing the workforce. For our donors, on the other hand, it makes sure that the students are prepared to join them and that those gaps are mitigated at the university level. With staff transitions, so I wanted to share, again, every name on this list, mine included, is probably new to you if you've been attending these meetings for a while. So I wanted to share where we were with staffing and introduce those that are here with me today. So if you're a member of development, could you stand for a second so I can formally introduce you? So the first to rise is Eleanor Bradshaw. She is my executive assistant and also supports a number of special projects. In the yellow, we have Taylor Andrea. This is Taylor's third day. Taylor is our manager of donor relations, and her key role is focusing a lot on our cultivation and stewardship events. And I think that's something I dive into a little bit towards the end of this presentation. And Lisa Wade, who you all may be familiar with from her role in business affairs. She's joined us as a corporate and foundation relations officer and also presidential liaison. So her chief role is maintaining those relationships and expanding them at a corporate and foundation level. Not here with us today, we have 2 interim appointments for data operations. So those that you would interact with, frankly, the most when it comes to reporting. Monique Jordan, who leads our bid processing, and Demetri Waters, who is back to us temporarily in a more so reporting role. Both of those roles are in interim with a plan to fill them full-time in the summer. But to make sure that we don't have that gap in the immediate term, they both have graciously joined us for a short period to keep operations flowing. And then also not with us today, the role is effective June 1. We will have a new staff member that will focus a lot on those scholarship programs that I just mentioned. And vacancies that we are hoping to fill within the summer period, the director of the annual fund and alumni giving, as well as a part-time grant writer that will help us with a lot of the proposals that we submit. Best practice establishment, so I already touched on this, but this is more so, like I said, making sure that we have all the formal and public documentation to support all of the wonderful things happening at Prairie. To make sure things, again, like us producing the most black educators in the state isn't something that we talk about internal. It's something that is very clear external. It's something that's a standard part of our donor communications, of our donor meetings, and it's something that is just one of the many fantastic facts and things that Prairie is known for. Related to that, an assigned development partner, as mentioned, we work in very close concert with all of the colleges and all of the relevant offices on campus, like career services. So we work to establish formal relationships and formal meetings to, again, make sure that that flow of information and communications is consistent. I believe this is my last slide, but I also just wanted to touch on some of the very specific offices that we work with that might be of interest to you. Of course, the foundation. We're working with them to ensure that we have complementary fundraising strategies, universal system language, and donor system reporting. And that's to make sure that we're working in concert, and that's very visible to everybody internally and externally. We're not doubling efforts, but we're aiming to leverage each other's strengths. Similarly with OSP, making sure that a very similar level of collaboration exists when it comes to research fundraising versus general fundraising efforts. And then lastly, of course, the scholarships office. Many of you that have scholarship endowments or current use scholarships with us often need to make sure that your gift agreement is in order, that the paperwork was properly submitted, that the earned income, that you're abreast of what that is, how it's being awarded, when it's being awarded. And so we've established a very close and consistent relationship with that office to be able to obtain and report that information to you. And yes, I believe that was the last slide. So I thank you for your time and welcome any questions that you might have.
Eureka Foxman, I'm the president of the Johnson Space Center chapter. And we have an endowment with the university, and we modified the criteria so that if we didn't select the person for our scholarship, that the university would then be able to, award it as appropriate. Question is, how difficult or how would we go about if we needed to modify that criteria, or if we wanted to change our approach to giving out that scholarship? Who would we speak to concerning that?
I think the immediate gateway would be Eleanor. So we can make sure that you all exchange contact information, and then she'll delegate that to the right person in the office to make sure that we locate the current agreement, share that with you in case you don't have it, and then see what modifications need to be made to adjust that. I will say just a caveat, sooner than later. Scholarships for the fall are being awarded as we speak. So we'll want to adjust that as soon as possible to make sure that it's awarded according to your desire.
Okay, so it is still possible to make those adjustments?
It is.
Okay, and what's that one's last name?
Bradshaw.
Bradshaw, okay, got it.
Eleanor, can you make sure you give her your contact? Thank you. Anyone else?
I have a question, how you doing?
Sure.
I'm Donna Glover, so I think I spoke with someone in your office, and I was waiting for a return call months ago about, my donation to the athletics. So I didn't get a return call about that. So my question is that I have friends that are VPs of banks and different organizations and companies that have given to Prairie View, and there has not been a follow-up with them. And so I know you mentioned about, putting measures in place that, going forward. And I just wanted to just put a special emphasis on that, because those people who represent the companies who are bringing Prairie View in front of them, they are, just not put in a great light when Prairie View doesn't follow up or, do all the things that they expect Prairie View to do as far as donor relations, cultivating and keeping that rapport, inviting, those folks to campus, the presidents and vice presidents and things of that nature. Just like I said, keeping a rapport. So I just wanted to, again, emphasize that that your office, please do that.
Yeah, absolutely, and definitely my apologies for you reaching out and not receiving a call back. Not sure who you talked to, or how that happened, but that's definitely something that we work every day to make sure is not the case. Development definitely considers itself one of the various customer service facing offices of the university, and so that's first and foremost. Even if we don't have an answer or don't have an immediate answer, we do aim to connect with you so that we let you know that we heard you, and we're aiming to take care of that. So definitely want to touch base with you afterwards to get your information to make sure that happens. And yes, we are working feverishly to make contact with every single person. That was one of the first charges that both Letha and I took on, is just starting with a roster of every single donor, particularly from the corporate and foundation side, and working our way through that list to make sure that those who haven't been contacted are, those that have concerns are able to address them, and those that are good remain good. So that's something that we're consistently working on and aim to do better at every day. Any other questions? Okay, well, I thank you all again so much for your time.
Good afternoon. I think most of you already know who I am. I'm Phyllis Darden-Caldwell, and I am now in the position of Director of Alumni Affairs. So one of the things that I was asked to do was to share with you all what we're going to do in my office. Currently, in the past 4.5 months that I've been here, most of it has been going through a transition, working on different events, and trying to effectively view how the office currently operates, and then make some determinations on what I would like to see in how it operates. One of the things that we're doing is we're hiring more staff. We have one person that should be coming on in about a week or two. After Dr. LeGrand comes on, and speaking with her, we're going to offer another position, and we have one that's out there now for administrative assistant. We need these people in place in order to operate efficiently and effectively. I need policies in place. I think most of you know, I come from a law firm background, and I need policies. I need to know how things are done, when they're done. I need to understand how we're going to control our inventory, because I get a lot of requests from people asking for different gear and asking for different things. And sometimes I receive 3 requests for the same group. I have to be able to control our inventory. I have to be able to view our inventory in terms of what my budget is. So those things are important to me. A couple of things that we also do is we work, as Andrea was saying, we work very closely with other departments. I work very closely with development in the sense of, since I've been here, I've probably received 100 phone calls from alumni that I did not know, and also met with 50 that I did not know. One of the things that I do is when I'm talking with them, I find out who they are, where they are, who they work with, what their network looks like, and how they want to contribute to the university. If I see an opportunity, for instance, I met with someone really early on who was with Deloitte, and Jeffrey Walker, as a matter of fact, and he's the only Prairie View vice president at Deloitte. I introduced him to Andrea. They took it from there. They worked with career development, but we're also talking about creating an affinity group within the Deloitte organization, because I understand that there's several PV alum there. We don't always have that information, so that's why it's important to find out where people are and what they're doing, so that we look at the network outside of just Prairie. Everyone has a network, but we don't always recognize and where we are. The gentleman that we had speak last night, Brian Jennings, Brian has spoken with Andrea about now creating a scholarship and creating an internship. Those are the people that when I speak to them, I'm looking at where else can I go with it? Who else do I need to connect them with? In terms of different career fairs, I've had different groups say, we want to do a career fair, we want to be involved. Connecting them back with career development. So there are things on that sense. The other thing that we're doing is I'm looking more intentionally in terms of student hires. Looking at student internships, student hourly, and how can I best utilize the office to effectively hire students who are interested in different areas. We plan to work very closely along with development, but also with marketing. And in terms of working with marketing, my student intern this summer is actually a digital media art student. And it's because we're gonna be working on what we're gonna do in terms of social media, how we're going to restructure the website, the types of information that we want to put out. If you've noticed, you've started to see more information through alumni spotlights. And we're creating a new alumni newsletter that will highlight alumni more frequently. But we're trying to do it in a sense that we're looking at the different industries and how can we do it in that sense. We received, the one that we did on the Daisy Cadet, I received that information from her supervisor. I knew nothing about her. She's a two-time architect grad. But her supervisor contacted us and told us basically we needed to do a spotlight. So we quickly did one for March for Women's Month, but we're gonna do a more in-depth article on her. If you notice, sometimes I'm trolling social media and picking up information, and it's because we want to spotlight you. For me, it's a matter of understanding that we serve a cross-generational audience. We serve students now who are 2023 grads, I presented a resolution to a gentleman who's 102. So we have to determine how do we reach across the generations using different venues, different platforms, different media, and how do we communicate with them? Do we need to communicate by paper? Do we need to communicate more auditory? Do we need to do it more visually? Can we do it electronically? We have to figure that one out. I'm not sure how we're going to do that yet. We may have to do it through a survey. I just don't know. But it is one of the tasks that we're going to look at. How do we communicate effectively and reach a cross-generational audience? We're also developing a system for data collection for our graduates who, when they leave, we need to be able to contact them within 6 months and create a pipeline with them. We need to establish a way of staying connected with them. Just as we want to stay connected with our 102 and our 80, 60, 40, we have to connect with our younger generation. And in looking at that, we have to understand that the way we connect with them may be totally different from the way we connect with everyone here. Most of the younger ones, they're not on Facebook. They left it because we got on it. So we have to connect with them through IG.
The great migration.
So newsletter, we want to promote more awareness of alumni advancement and accomplishments. And when I say that, it's not necessarily just because you attained a status of a VP in your office. For younger alum, it could be that they bought their first house, or they got married, or they bought a new car. Those are important to them. They're just as important to them as you becoming a VP. And we have to celebrate that. I think in celebrating them, we keep them connected. I'm also looking at, I am going to create an advisory committee. It will be very wide ranged. leaning towards joining towards, either industry or related to various colleges and departments. There could be more than one person who's representing, say, the College of Education, because I understand that there are different levels when it comes to education, whether they're in higher education or whether they're an administrative person. We want to be able to have an advisory board that basically looks like our alumni. I'm looking at board appointments, so not only committee and board appointments here with the different colleges, I'm also looking at board appointments that are in communities, on the civic side, on the corporate side. I have some contacts with various corporations because of my past employment, and I've reached out to a couple of them. If a board seat comes up, let me know, because I may have somebody that I want to recommend. I need to see more Prairie View people on boards. For instance, my sister is on the board of the Houston Urban League. My question to her was, where's Prairie View? I see U of H, I see UT, I see Texas Southern. I don't see a Prairie View person on that board. I need to see more of us having seats on different boards. The other thing is, we're also going to make an attempt to reach out to more of our graduate and PhD alumni, those who were not undergrad alumni, but they did receive their degrees through the graduate programs or PhD programs. So when y'all talk to Marcus Davis, tell him I'll be calling him, because he did get his master's from here. He's always talking about Texas Southern, but we're going to talk to him about Prairie View. So a couple of other things that we want to do is, we're going to have a business page. We want to celebrate and promote alumni who have businesses. When I drive around Cypress, I see Aggie owned everywhere. I want to see Prairie View University owned or something. I need to see that, and we need to support each other. We need to support our businesses. Now, I will tell you that when I say business, that means having an EIN number. That means you're paying taxes. It's not your side hustle, but I'm still kind of thinking about how can I incorporate a separate venue or platform for someone who's just getting started and wants to build that business. College fair participation. I can't think of the young lady's name. I think she's in the Atlanta chapter, who has done quite a few college fairs. Yes. I love what she's doing, and I haven't had a chance to contact her, but she is one of the persons that I am going to contact. We're gonna talk to recruiting and enrollment and develop a plan that then, because she does a great job, but then how can we roll that out to our other chapters? And not only are the chapters, but just people who may not be in a chapter, because there's not a chapter there, but they are available to attend those college fairs. Adjunct professorships. There are a number of alum who are currently adjunct professors. And speaking with Dr. LeGrand, that's something else that we want to look at. Where, how can we get more of our alum in place in terms of adjunct professor? I need to monetize projects. And when I say monetize projects, I'm creating programs and projects that will engage campus alumni and non-campus alumni. And I want to create these projects and programs, and I'll give you an example of one, where there is a return on investment from that program. So as an example, I've talked with Trent Johnson and Catherine McIntyre, who is an employee in agriculture here. One of the things we've been discussing is an alumni cookbook. It would be one where alumni can contribute a recipe. It will be one where all of the recipes are like Panther Burger, Alta Vista Stew on that order, but it will be a cookbook that we can sell. And the money from that cookbook after, the net, would come back to agriculture. So we're looking at projects like that. How can we do things that engage alumni here on campus, but also engage alumni outside of campus, and merge the two, but also monetize those projects, so that money is coming back to the university. I look at things like that because when I think of giving, I think sometimes we think of giving in the sense of it's gotta be thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. Giving is what you give. Whether, if we talk about time, talent, and treasure, but it's so much more than that. It's being available. It's being available to do those college fairs. It's contributing to a cookbook. You're contributing to a cookbook that will now be sold and bring money back to the College of Agriculture. So I'm looking at those types of projects. How do we come up with those types of projects? I've also talked with several students. I probably speak to a student twice a week who comes into my office. Sometimes they're sent to me by alumni. Sometimes they just decide they want to come and see who I am. But we're talking about a pre-alumni organization, which did exist. I'm not sure where it is now, but it is something that we're going to work on and make sure that it is up to par, so that when they leave here, they understand the responsibility of being an alumnus. Hopefully we're able to participate more in the freshman orientation so that we can start at the freshman level in terms of increasing spirit, tradition, and pride. I know that a lot of times alumni will say students aren't at games. Well, I'm gonna tell you, more is caught than is taught. They don't see alumni at games. That's what they don't see, so that's what they think, okay, when I leave here, I don't need to come. So I'm gonna work with freshman orientation to start there in terms of developing that spirit, developing an enthusiasm, developing those traditions. I've met with the SGA president. That's one of the things we're talking about. Because if we can start with the freshmen and get them on board to start attending games, I'm gonna be working with Mr. Gardner while he's there, right? Okay. And see if we can get more students there, but we've gotta get more alum there. And I know there's a variety of reasons why alumni say they don't come. We need to get there though. We need to get there. And I get it. It's not easy on a Monday evening, but you start Saturday, you have Sunday baseball games. There's still other things that you can attend, so we're gonna work on that. Last and not least, a lot of the programs that I want to put in place deal with the 150th anniversary. The 150th anniversary is in 2026. So a lot of the things that I'm talking about putting in place, a lot of the projects that I've heard, I've gotten a lot of suggestions that I'm taking into account. Please don't think it's all Phyllis, because some of the things that I hear that we're talking about, and I'm working with a lot of different alumni, we're developing projects that will come up to that 150th anniversary. Hopefully we can roll out quite a few of them in 2025, because we're hoping that some of them are monetized. I've been working with several of the former Charles Gilpin players to do some things with them. Also, we're talking about a YouTube channel. We're talking about more interviews with alumni, whether they're in print or whether they're video. The last thing is, we need you all to participate. I can't do every interview. When my staff is in place, they can't write every article. So we're looking for people who are willing to interview alumni and who are willing to write those articles or even do it by video. For example, Tremaya did the one on Benny Lockett. She did that. I asked her to do it and she did it. She got the credit. Johari Wiley did the one on a Days Cadet. So I'm looking for more writers. I'm looking for people who will interview alumni. And that's basically it. So if you have any questions? Yes, ma'am.
I think I have two questions. The first question is related to, information out concerning opportunities. I have met a young man this year that's a 2021 mechanical engineer from Galveston County, Texas City. He's the first college graduate in his family, and he doesn't have a job in mechanical engineering. He just recently started working at Marathon in Texas City, but not in his engineering career field. He's just one of the workers. I also have my daughter that graduated from Prairie in agriculture in 2018. She went to work for the state of Texas. She makes pennies. She doesn't hardly makes enough money to take care of herself. Working for the state of Texas as a residential child care licensing agent. For whatever reason, these kids don't understand how to secure a job, I guess, after graduation. And so I was just, from the Alumni Affairs perspective, is there a way we can publish opportunities or build some type of place where they can go and or even come back to your offices, or when I see them, how can I direct them, back to the university even to get support? Because I heard somebody earlier say, if our graduates don't have jobs, that's a poor reflection on the university. If we get degrees and no jobs. That was the first question, and I forgot my second question.
So let me go to that one first. One of the things that I noticed when I came into position, the number of emails that were received, some from alum, some from other companies, regarding jobs. So one of the first things I did was talk with career development on how do I handle these, because literally I could get at least two a week. And my question to career development was, what do I do? How do I handle this? Do I send it to you? Should we create a place on our site where we're going to post those positions, or what? Right now I've been forwarding all of them to her, and as well as if I can determine that it's STEM related, I forward it to those colleges as well. I am meeting, I literally have a meeting next week with career development, career services, to discuss how we're going to do this and what's going to be the best way to do it. We're going to talk about where do we post it? How do we post it? How do I receive information from you all? Do you know there's a job? If there's something open. How should I receive that? And then again, I'm a policy person. What policy are we going to put in place so that we can efficiently and effectively get that information out to the public? So that is something that is on my list. Yes, Danetta.
One of the things I would like to add is that from time to time, the state, especially through the Higher Education Coordinating Board, will conduct surveys of the various colleges and universities, and they actually ask questions about whether or not your graduates are employed in the field in which they got their degrees. And that sometimes gives an indication of how effective the program is, whether or not there is a need to continue funding that program. And so the question that you raise is certainly a legitimate one, and there needs to be some way that we can assist those graduates to find employment in the area in which they've been prepared.
And I have met also, my position was announced November 28th. The second week in December, I had a call from the executive program in Northwest Campus to do a Zoom to talk about how can we promote that program so that they could then elevate our alum, where they can basically get jobs in that area. So I've met with a number of college assistant deans. Some of the colleges, like engineering, has a career development department, I guess, and I've met with them, and it's been the same conversation on how can we now work together for me to give them the information that I'm receiving, but also how can I promote that information for them. Any other questions? Yes.
As far as, from what I hear, the major thing for people who can be employed is an internship.
Mm-hmm.
That's almost just as important as your education, because, so in that realm, what are you doing as far as trying to increase internships working with alumni and whatnot?
In terms of working with alumni.
Right. For example, I just saw where, someone donated $5 million to the UNT for internships, right? That opened my eyes and said, oh man, so this is besides doing research, right? Internships are important as
Right.
well. It makes you more valuable, right? You gain more skill,
Okay.
real world skills, so.
So you remember I spoke about the gentleman who was at our alumni pinning last night? When I met with him, one of the first things Andrea and I spoke with him about was, you have your own business, what about an internship? What about a scholarship? He's developing that. When I speak with different people, I'm speaking with, well, I can't say who it is, but he's with a very large corporation. He knows that there's a lot of Prairie View people there, and he is interested in working more with Prairie View in terms of developing those internships. When I hear that kind of thing, I'm always gonna forward it to Andrea and to Career Services. But that's also what I mean about your network. What does your own network look like? Is the corporation or the company where you're working, are they hiring Prairie View people? Are they coming here for college fair? You're the representative for Prairie View in that sense. You're the ambassador for Prairie View in that sense. You're the one committee person who is chair of that committee to talk to your corporation and ask them, what are they doing for Prairie View? Do they have an internship program that can be geared towards Prairie View? Do they have management level positions that they will come out to college fairs, career fairs here to talk to our students? One last example, the young lady who died in January, Jada's Payne. She's a 2021 alum, and she died in a car accident. We've been working with her parents since 2 weeks after her death, I think. Her parents immediately said, because of the relationship that she had with her, she graduated in 2021, but the relationship that she had in with Prairie View, the relationships that she developed, the friendships that she developed, her parents said that Prairie View helped grow her up. Her parents decided to start an endowed scholarship. They started an endowed scholarship. The scholarship is now endowed. They're still fundraising. They were here, she ran track. They were here for PV relays and the SWAC championship. They're very much involved. But to take it a step further, they connected me with a group in San Diego who has two focuses. One, they want to host a college fair on behalf of Prairie View in San Diego. So I've connected them with enrollment and recruiting. And I've got to connect them with the Los Angeles chapter. Two, the person who owns that company said that Jada was the first and only Prairie View student who had an internship there and then was later employed there. Their next step is to create a Jada's Payne internship that would be used at Prairie View. Those are the networks that I'm talking about. When we start talking about looking within the network, we would have never met that person had it not been for her parents. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. You got a lot to say, Grace, over, and we do too. There to help. And speaking of that, I'm just gonna put this plug out there while I have your mic for this 1 second with Alumni Affairs, because I'm working with the young lady in your office, Ms. Karis Mays.
She has accepted employment elsewhere, so there'll be someone in place in about 2 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Retention. But I'll go ahead and say this anyway, because we are the class of 1974 and the Golden Anniversary Project. So if we've been trying to reach out and find members of that class, so you can reach out to me and we'll find somebody else in the Alumni Affairs office as well, so we can get that started.
Viola, for now, if you just send an email to alumni@pvamu.edu, I will pick it up, and then whoever else is employed will also be able to pick it up.
Thank you, Phyllis. Let me repeat that. So if you can contact either myself or Phyllis, just send it to Phyllis at alumni@pvamu.edu, and it will get to Ms. Darden-Caldwell's office. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. And is Dr. Gardner here? There you are. All right, why don't you come up? And then immediately following remarks from the athletics department, our president will come and share with us as well.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
My name is John Gardner. I am the interim athletic director, also the assistant vice president for academic engagement and student success here at Prairie. Class of 1992 and 94 in mathematics. I was recruited from high school, Forest Brook High School, by Dr. McFrazier, and was mentored through my years here at Prairie by Dr. A.D. Stewart. And so you all understand if I say carry on, you'll definitely understand. And so I was asked, and it's a privilege, when I received a call from Dr. Simmons asking if I would serve in this capacity and support the university. I could dare not tell her no, so I said, yes, ma'am, whatever you need. And so it was back in October when she asked me to come over to serve as the interim athletic director for this great institution. And so I've been learning and trying to keep the boat afloat over these last several months. And so have a small presentation here for you today. We want to kind of give you some of the success stories that we have over this last year, and some of the things that we're looking at doing in the future. And if time permits, I'll give you a brief overlook of the athletic budget, if time permits, okay? So let's take a look at a few things here that's going on in athletics. I'm glad to announce to you that our bowling team is the 2023 SWAC bowling champion. They won the championship, and so this is number 6 for our coach. It's the 6th championship, and so we are definitely proud of what they are doing, what he's doing with the bowling team. When I first took over, he told me, he said, Doc, if I can win the championship with this team, because it's somewhat of a younger team, he said, if I can win a championship with this team, this will be probably my best coaching job ever. And so he was able to win the championship, so definitely want to congratulate him and the bowling team for what they are doing and how they are representing the university. Also, just a few weeks ago, our women outdoor, we won the SWAC Women Outdoor Championship. Another great success. It was a great job done by the ladies, and our interim coach, Coach Dixon, is doing a great job with the young ladies. We are waiting now for the final scores to be tallied to see if we have any of our young ladies going to the NCAA regionals in Sacramento. And so we think we may have one. We think we'll definitely be in, but we're trying to wait to see if we'll have a few more that will be participating, and also have a young man that's on the bubble now that could also possibly participate in regionals. Also, I would like to announce, our softball team. We haven't won the SWAC yet, so here it says 2023 softball championship game, and so our team there in Gulfport, Mississippi, as I speak, and so they are participating. They haven't lost the game yet. they're supposed, it was because of we're under a rain delay, and so they were supposed to play the championship game today at 2 o'clock, but because the schedule got pushed back, so they will possibly be playing the championship game tonight at 6 o'clock, or if not, they'll start tomorrow morning at 11. So they're one win away from winning the championship, so we're definitely going to root them on, and we're going to speak it into existence early on this one, and so we believe that they will win the SWAC championship. Coach Bland, PV alum, doing an outstanding job with softball and with these young ladies, and so we really appreciate the work that he is doing with the team. Also, we have some SWAC Coach of the Year honors for this year. Our women's golf coach, Jamisha Levester, she's one of our new golf coach, and so she was able to come in her first year and win Coach of the Year for the women's golf program, and so we really appreciate the work that she's doing. Also, Coach Bland, it was announced a few days ago that he won Coach of the Year for the women's softball program, and also last week it was announced that Coach Eric Dixon, he won the Coach of the Year for the women's outdoor track program. So we're doing some great things in athletics. You know, the teams, they are definitely moving in the right direction. They are all, you know, they're supporting me and helping me through this transition, and so they're doing some outstanding work, so I really appreciate them. So I wanted to highlight them and highlight the students and what they're doing, because this is what it's all about. Athletics is really about supporting student athletes and supporting our coaches, and they are doing an outstanding job. But also our students are doing an outstanding job in the classroom. You know, I would like to share with you some numbers of what's going on in the classroom with our student athletes. Last fall, we saw that we had 11 of our student athletes had a 4.0 GPA. That's while participating, practicing, and doing all those things and still getting the job done in the classroom. And that's what we should be highlighting. We had 101 students have a GPA between a 3.99. This is outstanding type of numbers here. We had 127 student athletes with a 3.0 to a 3.29. You know, this is the type of athletes that we have here at Prairie. This is what we're all about, is supporting our students and watching them develop and grow. So that means that I'm a little shaky with my math, but that could mean that we have about 239 of our athletes had at least a 3.0 or higher last fall. We're waiting for this spring grades to come in, and then we're able to report on what we're doing with that. Also, when we look at our graduation rates, we have, for last fall, we had 12 athletes to graduate. This spring, we have 48 already certified and approved to graduate. And so we will celebrate the 48 graduates this evening at the stole ceremony that we'll have in the Juvenile Justice Building at 6 o'clock in the auditorium. So I want to invite all of you, if you're here at 6, stop by Juvenile Justice in the auditorium. We will be having a stole ceremony for our 48 graduates and giving them their stole and having a little refreshments for them and thanking them for the work that they've done on the court, on the field, but also in the classroom. And that's what it's all about, is graduating student athletes. And that's our number one priority. Next on the list, I want to talk just quickly about some facilities and that we were able to get done in my short time as in the interim role. But let's see if we can get this to move to the next. Here we go. So what you see here on the left-hand side of the slide is the track field. What do you notice about the track field? It has lights. We put up about 3 weeks ago, we were able to install permanent lights at the track field. This was a major feat for us. We were able to secure the $1.3 million that was needed to do this. And so this is a major investment for us because U.S. track and field, they all want to use this. Prairie is known for having one of the fastest tracks in the state and in the nation. And so a lot of people want to come here and use our tracks. By placing these lights here, this has now moved us far above most places in the state and in the nation. We're having one of the fastest track, and now they will be able to practice in the evening times and things like that. And so I definitely want to thank the university for supporting the vision of putting the lights out at our track field. And so we were able to use it this past weekend at the SWAC outdoor track meet. And so that was a major feat. We also have coming up baseball, softball, and the tennis court. So we will start the bidding process to secure quotes to put padding around our baseball and softball fields down the foul lines and also the outfield. That will again elevate our facilities, and we will be resurfacing and redoing the tennis courts, because I think we've been overlooking tennis, and we need to make sure that we're fair to all sports. And so these are the next ones on the list that we're just waiting for quotes to come in, and we'll start working on those in the summer or in early fall. And as it relates to the padding in softball and baseball, that's a new requirement of the NCAA, so we have to get those things done by January of 2024. So we'll definitely have that in place in more than enough time to meet the need of the NCAA, but also make sure that we are concerned with player safety. The last two slides, I'm just going to go through very quickly, because I know you've been sitting a long time and you're ready for me to stop talking. So I'm going to just take a quick hit at the budget right quick, okay? I'm just going to take a quick stab at it. So here, I want to talk something about our revenue. Reverend Mark, when I first came in October, you know, we had a meeting, and his question to me was, man, can you tell me at least something about the budget? And so Mark, this is just to answer your question. I'm doing this to answer your question, to give you a glimpse about the budget. Notice I'm putting on here at the bottom, right, values are not certified. But this is something that I've been working on for several months to try to pull together, because to get a better understanding of what's going on with the cash flow that's coming in and out of athletics. And so one thing that I noticed about the cash flow that's in and out of athletics from the revenue standpoint is most of our revenue comes from the institution, okay? It's about $7.82 million that will come from the institution. This is on everyday cash flow. There are other funds that the institution gives us for athletics that's not really accounted for in this, because our debt services, the institution typically covers that for the facilities on the back end. So we're looking at most of our funds coming in, it typically comes from institutional support. We do have funds that come in from game guarantees that can fluctuate depending on if we play Texas A&M in football or not, you know, so that will definitely change your game guarantee amount. Student fees, we get about $2.99 million a year from student fees. Ticket sales, you get about $0.48 million in ticket sales. Distributions, if you get from SWAC, our SWAC and NCAA distributions usually come up to about $1.1 million. And then we have some others that come in that's about $0.41 million, somewhere up in there. So our operating budget is usually somewhere around $14 million in cash flow that comes in and out of athletics. The next part you asked me, Mark, was and where are we spending the money? You know, give me a breakdown of where we're spending the money. So I wanted to make sure I kind of highlight that as well for you all. Typically in salaries, we spend somewhere around $4.65 million. That's including all coaches, benefits, and all staff. Understand, we are the only SWAC school that's running 18 sports. Okay, so we have 18 sports, and so we're supporting all 18 sports, and we have the cheer and panther dog programs under us as well. So with the salaries, we're about $4.6 million of that. Student aid, which is what we give out in scholarships to students, it's about $3.47 million. We have some direct overhead that deals with facilities, maintenance, and security, and a lot of other things that's in there. Sports equipment, apparel, and things like that for athletes, about $0.68 million. Then we have some other expenses that's just part of everyday expenses that you deal with whether it's travel for certain staff members and things like that. And our largest, one of the largest expenses that continues to increase that we're really watching is the travel, for the teams to travel, 2.23 million. You know, coming out of the pandemic, everything is increased, everything is higher. You know, the hotels are higher, the gas prices are higher, the buses that we rent, our lease, they are higher, you know, and so the meals, everything has increased. So we do see an increase going on with our travel budget. So this is kind of a very high level look at where we are with the budget and how we're spending and things that we have coming in as it relates to revenue. The university has been a great partner in supporting athletics and making sure that all of our needs are met at the level that we are right now. So that's what I have for you all. I just wanted to kind of give you a very high level look at where we are with athletics and also some of the successes that's going on, the facilities things that are going on. And I now will take probably one or two questions if you have any. All right, great. Thank you all very much.
Thank you. I know we started a little late and we had some technical difficulties, but we're gonna move on. And so now I'd like to introduce the president of the Prairie National Alumni Association, Mr. Mark Falls. Thank you.
Can we pull up, I have one question from the chat for Dr. Gardner.
Sure.
Okay.
The question was, how does our athletic expenses compare to other SWAC or HBCU sports programs?
I need to go and take a look at that, but I think we're probably, by us running 18, I'm sorry.
Oh, you good, you good.
But by us running 18 sports, we are probably in the top, you know, of SWAC as it relates to expenses, maybe one or two colleges that are up there with us as well. But by us, this mere fact of running 18 sports will definitely move you up the list on expenditures. Sure.
Thank you. It appears we were able to get the chat enabled, so there may be some questions later on as well. Here you go, Mark.
Thank you, Ms. Powell, for presiding over this here General Assembly. Thank you, Brother Fred, for leading us in prayer. First of all, I want to thank you all. I know you're tired. Some of us been at it since 9:30 this morning with our NAA Board of Directors meeting, and now we're here at the General Assembly. So I want to thank you for your patience, and then I want to thank you for allowing me to lead this 122-year-old organization. Has not been easy. I'm all about change. That's what I'm all about, changing this traditional organization. And so definitely want to thank you all for allowing me to lead you. So 3 months are left in this administration. Of course, I want to highlight some of the things that have been accomplished under this administration. Again, we all know the purpose. So this is not the vision of the NEA. It's trying to give you the state of the address where we are. You know the purpose of this 122-year-old organization was formed 122 years ago of ex-students and allies for perpetuation of this here great university that we all so love. And so just somewhat highlight some of the accomplishments. The reduced lifetime membership, we brought in 495 new members, and we was able to raise $200,000. And it's very important because the NEA, we are a fundraising organization. That's what that affiliation agreement means, that we signed, and that is still effective to February 2025. We are supposed to be a fundraising organization. And so for the Juneteenth, we brought in $51,000. We partnered with TSU for Juneteenth last year. That brought in $51,000. We started an art project from the class of 70. Ms. Henson and Brother Foster. We have not done a good job with that. I take full responsibility because everything falls on the president. And I hear just from a few folks say, I don't delegate enough. Well, the reason why I don't delegate, because people keep dropping the ball. And when the ball is dropped, the person who I delegated to is not gonna get blamed, but I'm gonna get blamed. But that art project has the capability to bring in over $500,000. And I'm gonna have to find somebody to resurrect that art project. And there's only a few of us, and I was gonna bring it with me, but I got so busy, cause you gotta go through protocol. I wanted to ask Dr. McFrazier, would it be okay to come bring, it's a beautiful art collection, and you see it. Some of y'all probably wanna take mine. It is beautiful, but we have not done a good job. The NAA has not done a good job, and the person that I assigned it to just disappeared. And so, but it did so far bring in $5,000. And then the homecoming banquet brought in close to $9,500. Okay, all right, for the homecoming banquet. We're a fundraising organization according to that affiliation agreement. I'm gonna come back to the challenges because you're gonna hear me talk about the challenges financially of the NAA. And again, this is my perspective. You can see better sitting at the top. So this is my perspective. Those who want to agree, disagree, I'm okay with it. But you can see better at the top. We were real great, and we got to work with the university. Too many of these students, some kind of way before they graduate, they mismanaging their money. And so they call in Tamara, or they call in Ms. Irma, whomever, need money. And we just don't want these kids to make it all the way to their senior year and their last semester get kicked out. And so we really have to work with the university, you know, work with the university to make sure that these kids manage their money some kind of way, you know. And so we got a lot of hits this year, you know, a lot of hits where these kids are getting ready to get kicked out of school for $200-300, and most of you heard Dr. Ruth talked about it. So either the university, Dr. Ruth go in the annual fund, or the NAA come through, you know. So those are some of the challenges we had. Also, athletics, you heard Director Gardner talk about it. I think we gave over $7,000 to athletics, okay? And that emergency fund that we probably, over the past year or so or better, we've given out over $8,000 to keep these kids in school. And one of the greatest ones, I think I was, thank you, Lalani, I was somewhere, and Lalani filled in for me. We had, the first time in the history of Prairie, we had 2 students that received an internship in Austin. It's called the LBB, the Legislative Budget Board process. And I think I was out on traveling, and some kind of way Lalani got involved. A few others got involved. Lalani took the lead, and I met with him right after Bible study that night. And the one young lady, she broke down crying because I told her we gonna guarantee, the NAA is gonna guarantee that she goes to Austin. And we guaranteed it. And right now, Lalani is her mother right now, you know. And so that was a very touching moment. Very touching moment. So we're doing some great things. We're doing some great things with the National Alumni Association. You know our purpose, the only thing that I try to implement and keep on the front of everybody's mind, working together towards greatness. Working together towards greatness. Here come the challenges. We don't work together, y'all. There's too many other alumni groups that are out there that are not under the umbrella of the NAA. We're not working together. We're not working together. Then you got us right under the NAA umbrella. We're not working together. And if I could just keep that on the forefront of everybody's mind, we must work together if we're gonna reach greatness. We're gonna reach greatness. So the challenges, and I'm glad Phyllis brought it up, socially, we got to improve NAA. What do I mean by that? One of the things I tried to implement as soon as I came aboard and have been unsuccessful to do it, that student tent engagement, so that we can start with these freshmen from their freshman year all the way to their senior year. When you were here at this hill, the only time you saw the alums was during homecoming. We have to change that perception of these students. It's still that today. And I created a functional org chart. And we had one person step up, but that went AWOL. But we have to get the student tent engagement going. Just imagine, and I learned that when Dr. Ruth sent us to Spelman, because she realized we didn't work together. She sent us to Spelman. Spelman, they girls, them freshmen, they have 2 or 3 alums that be with them from their freshman year to their senior year. What I mean by being with them, they go in their pocket, anything they need, they feed them, they are there for them. They're trying to make sure that those kids at Spelman cross the finish line. So that when they do cross the finish line, they already know who the alums are, and they are so grateful to be part of that alumni association. That's why Spelman is ranked #1. And we have to do the same thing here. That's socially we're missing it. Phyllis hit it right, cross-generational. The young folks, I started a junior advisory board, and I quit inviting them because some of them was getting their feelings hurt the way we carry on at the meeting. We have to get these young folks engaged. And so the student tent, so hopefully I get a chance to talk, it's already been approved. It's already been approved. But the president can't do it all by himself. But that student tent engagement's been, that's the first thing I said we was gonna do. And these students need us. They crying out, talking about socially. I was so embarrassed, I told Dr. Ruth, because I'm on the MEAC, Mechanical Engineering, Industry Advisory Council. Engineering got it all set up over there. And I'm like, how come the other colleges not doing it? So when Billy was here, Billy tried to implement it across the other colleges. So I told Dr. Ruth, I'm gonna send out a survey. And some of you probably, I don't know, it went out. They're gonna promote tomorrow, we got 8,000 alums. But from the NA, I said we can reach 25,000. We sent out the survey so that you can decide, because this is how you make the impact to the university and hold this university council accountable. You gotta be on the panels, you gotta be on the boards, committees. That's where our voices are heard, not in this General Assembly. We sent out that survey. Let's say it reached 25,000. Only 143 people responded. Only 143 responded. We had the marching storm on it. We had every college, every department on there. And 143 alums said, I said, Dr. Ruth, I'm gonna go back to the table. The university needs us. That's how they need us. I get so many calls from alums showing up. Listen, alums showing up because we think that we are entitled. You show up to a professor office, a dean office, and you ain't made an appointment. I get so many calls from alums that just show, because you're an alum, you're entitled. And when I was giving you an opportunity to be on these panels, these boards, these committees, I'm gonna send it back out again. We need to respond. That's how we gonna hold this university accountable. On these panels, these boards, these committees. I can't be on them. I was on the SPAC, Strategic Planning Advisory Committee. That's that 5-year plan. I was on the President's Search Committee. I'm with MEAC. I can't be on all. I was on the athletic with Dr. Reed. I can't be on. And that survey went out 143. So I just want to share that. So socially, we're not doing it, y'all. Socially, we're not doing it. Now let's talk about financially. Because the last one I'm gonna talk about is politically. These are the challenges. Financially, that reduced lifetime membership saved us. That reduced lifetime membership saved us to operate maybe for about 2 to 3 more years. And I'm not ashamed to tell you, this is a public organization. I was so mad when I took over this organization, we were $16,000 in the red. And then I sit up here, I look at what the Office of Development showed, and look at the alumni giving, and we let other folks beat us giving. And this is the alma mater that we say that we love. And so the challenge financially is, because we're taking care of an old building that's costing us about $65,000 a year. Then you throw in the salaries, another $50,000. And this NA organization, who was built for fundraising, according to that affiliation agreement, we are not bringing in enough funds to sustain this organization. So we got some challenges ahead financially. Financially. I thought I was gonna have an opportunity to pull my engineers from NASA so we can do a sustainability of that building, but things just kept. Thank God for Mr. Higgs. I thank God for Mr. Higgs and all those who before me did their best. But they forgot about the sustainability plan to maintain that building. And so financially, yeah, we hurting. We're hurting. And so the money that we raised is $200,000. I predict anywhere 3 to 4 years, we're gonna be back in the same old rut. So we have some challenges ahead of us financially, and we have to learn how to give. Give. I was told once upon a time that at the end of the year, end of the 2 years, that the chapters always gave maybe $1,000 back to the NAA. Don't know what happened to that. But if the NAA is gonna continue to depend on the convention, which the pandemic shut us down, the homecoming banquet, I had to fight hard for, gonna have to fight hard again for it. The homecoming banquet, we've been doing it over 37 years. And right now, the university is all about this cross-generation. We got some challenges ahead of us. We have to work together. We have to work together. I thought I'd be able to pull a team in from NASA who had a friend of mine who's gonna do it for free. Upload all these data documents into an electronic repository. Because if that building catch on fire, there go our database. Or a hurricane, there go our database. We behind socially from an IT point. Financially, we struggling. And I got some people telling me, you shouldn't be sharing that. I got to share it. I see better from the top. We got some challenges ahead of us financially. And here's the last one, politically. Ever since Dr. Ruth resigned, my life has been upside down. Channel 2, Channel 11, Channel 13, Fox, 39, the Houston Defender, the Chronicle. My life been threatened. I just found out this morning somebody's suing me. Politically, is that Dr. Ruth has woke us up, right? And I'm waiting for somebody to dispute it, because Frank Jackson is the historian. Frank said, you're the first president in the history of this National Alumni Association that ever has stood up politically. And everybody who want to be part of GRAC now, it's too late. The Government Relations Advisory Council that I started. Because I knew I was going to, the GRAC was already in place before Dr. Ruth resigned. The plan was to meet with the chancellor, meet with the governor, address the UTEMCO board, and explore the possibility of seceding from the university. All that was on paper, documented, before Dr. Ruth resigned. And so, politically, and that's what and I want to talk about that, because that's where we've been losing the battle at. You're losing the battle. Because you go look at UTEMCO, and I looked at the data in 2022. It's sitting over there, $66 billion. Yes, sir. $66 billion. And I got to control myself like Frank. I see why Frank get mad. Because in the state constitution, which if you just read it, it says there are three tiers institutions. Texas A&M, and Prairie. So tell me why the UTEMCO board, Texas get 2/3 and A&M get 1/3. And it's been like that because we've been focusing on fundraising. And that's what they want us to do, focus on fundraising. We need to address this politically. Politically. Texas A&M, UT, up there at Austin twice, lobbying, make sure that everything that they president put in, that they back it up. And Dr. Ruth or Dr. Palmer go down there, tell them this is what the university needs, and no alums there. Politically, our fight is political now, and it's a paradigm shift. It's a paradigm shift. And the only thing I hate about the media, because I called Cambria, Channel 2, they interviewed me for 15 minutes. But they used at 5 o'clock 15 seconds, and then used another different clip for the 6 o'clock. And I said, what about all the other stuff I shared? Then I just read the Prairie magazine. I'm sitting. I'm finding out some of these articles I don't much have anything to do with. And you can't make a move politically without me not getting a call from the Board of Regents. Mark, how was the press conference? What? And I keep telling people I want to operate in secret. And so I met with the chancellor. And he talking about he afraid of being booed. I got on him. I wish Dr. Miles said, you afraid of being booed? I said, well, my own folks talking about me. And so I got to meet with him because we want to make sure that Dr. LeBron has a great entrance. Every president that we interviewed on the President's Search Committee, when they found out I was the national president, they came behind and said, Mark, if I'm elected, when I come aboard, please get me with your National Alumni Association. So we got to make a smooth transition. A smooth transition. Was that the top choice? No. Dr. Walter Kimbrough was the top choice. But when they in control, they can do what they want, when they want, and how they want. So we have to make a smooth transition for Dr. LeBron. And every opportunity I've had with her, we miss each other because I was headed up to Jackson State. Come back from Jackson State, then I broke out in herpes. Not herpes, what you nurses, Dr. Not herpes. Thank you, Lord have mercy. Did I say herpes? That'll make y'all look. That'll make She said, he got, look at Brother Fred, he got my wife, look at, he got my wife a teacher sitting right there. But, so we've got to get together and change. No, I ain't gonna say it again. Shingles, yeah, shingles, y'all. This is being video. Shingles. And shingles, I had shingles. That slowed me down. I was scheduled to meet with her in February, and then Dr. Ruth resigned. So I haven't had a chance to meet with her and everything. But she's the little time that I met with her on the President's Search Committee, she's a lovely person. All the candidates were wonderful, y'all. All the candidates was wonderful. And on that President's Search Committee, we got in a heated argument the last day. Because one of the regents said, the only thing that I'm afraid of, that this person ain't never worked for the system. And that's what they want. They want somebody sitting in this seat that they can control. Amen. And they could not control the truth. Nope. They could not control. And so the chancellor's got married. He's honeymooning. That's why I'm not gonna meet with him. He's honeymooning for the next 2 to 3 weeks. And so I'm gonna try to get on his calendar in June. The press conference, I thank God for Roland Martin. Okay, Roland was the only one showed up. But again, I delegated doing that. And I took a lot of heat because of the poor turnout, but I delegated. But I gotta keep moving though. I gotta keep moving. The GRAC is real powerful. It's real powerful. Stand up, Dr. Roland. He's on it. Stand up. That's the former mayor of Prairie, y'all. I had somebody to send me an email. I want to know who these 9 political savvy. Some of the emails that y'all send me, and I'm not talking about you. I don't need much address. Listen, as your president, I'm focusing on positivity. All this negative criticism that I'm getting, if you think that you can do better, put your name in the hat and run for the president of this organization. I want y'all to know that I'm doing my best. It's working with Chancellor Shaw. I had somebody I got in a heated discussion with one of my frat brothers. Mark, you Uncle Tom, and I said, you know what? You better be glad I'm saved. I agree with Chancellor Shaw. If you look at his record, he has done more than any chancellor that was in that seat. Go look at his record. He has. He's done it. When he says he loved Prairie, he said, look, based on what I've done. And he got 5 more years, by the way. It got extended to 2028. Yeah. And he does things for Prairie. But what I'm trying to get the chancellor to see, thank you for what you've done, but we got to make up for the past. We got to make up for the past. And another thing, there's nothing in this for me. I don't want to sit on the Board of Regents. If the next person runs up and tells me that, I don't want to meet with the chancellor because I want to be on the Board of Regents. I don't want to be on the Board of Regents. I already got my 2 nominees. It's definitely not me. But yeah, we need to have somebody from Prairie sitting on the Board of Regents. I called Bill Mahomes, congratulate him. He's the new chair, the chairman now, you know. But we need somebody from Prairie. And just like I told when I met him the first time, even during the conversation, y'all making the decisions in a black environment that you don't know anything about. And I say, y'all need to appreciate our uniqueness. Because it's a competition between Texas and Texas A&M. What Texas A&M got over UT, and by the way, didn't they just add Stephen F. Austin into their system?
Yeah, UT.
Huh? And y'all not looking, it's a system in place.
Yes, sir.
It's a system in place. And what Texas A&M got over Texas, they got an HBCU. they have an HBCU. And I'm trying to get them to use it to their advantage. Now, the only thing politically I'm holding them, they foot against the table, and I'm through, in case you want to have questions. This is what I want you to educate yourself. I want you to go read the Texas State Constitution. Article 7. It's 3 classes. Texas A&M, and Prairie. And the reason why they put us, come on, you don't have to be a genius. And the reason why they put us under the A&M back then, come on. Really? You know why we was under the A&M system? Women, well, y'all wasn't much allowed to go to school back then. It was men. But they didn't want us coming to Texas A&M. So they call it the Agriculture and Mechanical School for Colored Youth. And you go look at all the HBCUs, the names that they have today. FAMU haven't always been called FAMU, Grambling, and Jackson State. So I want you to educate yourself. All I'm doing, this GRAC, we holding them. And then, next thing, the Texas Higher Education Code. Please go look at that. It tells Texas A&M under the state what they're supposed to be doing for us. I'm saying that we're supposed to have an African American museum. You're supposed to have a full accredited medical school.
Yes, yes, yes. Yes, you are.
It's, I mean, how can he, that's all we doing. When Dr. Maya and I met with him, I'm just holding, how can these things be? We're not going, this G-Rap, when I go, I'm not going in there blindside. I got the G-Rap. Some of them aggressive, some of them passive. But I'm holding them accountable to the Texas Higher Education Code, subtitle, Title III. And it lists all the universities under the Texas A&M, what Texas A&M is supposed to be doing for each university. And they're not doing it for us.
Right.
And so this problem that I'm so fighting for myself, and they do feel like I'm fighting it all by myself. Because the chancellor, the death threat didn't come from the chancellor. I'm being sued. I just heard that I'm being sued. It's alarms. If we don't learn how to work together towards greatness, my phone sometimes I haven't been receiving emails. My phone is tracked now. I just showed it to my wife. I'm not laughing. I cut my phone off. They cut it right back on. My desktop computer, I don't much use them. I get my laptop from out of my pastor's study because my desktop at home is free there. And I got all these death threats. So it's not easy. And for all of you that say, I don't know what I'm doing, but I know somebody who know what he is doing. This is not easy. This is not easy. I'm waiting for those in the state capitol to put me in a meeting with the governor. I hear that's getting ready to happen. The session is just about over with. I want to talk to Governor Abbott about DEI and accessibility. The chapter number 3, the UTIMCO, the $66 billion. And listen, to explore the opportunity of succeeding from Texas, and we're going to do a think tank. And we're going to have to look at the advantages and disadvantages. For number 3 and 4, it's going to require legal representation. And I had to tell them, well, Mark, how y'all, you gonna have to need legal fund. How y'all legal fund? Don't worry about that. She ain't even tell them that my legal fund is zero. Our organization been in existence for 122 years, and we've been addressing legal, political. That's why they don't want us in the political arena. It's time for us to get in the political arena and do something. I'm not saying stop raising fundraisers, but it's gonna be a paradigm shift. It's gonna be a paradigm shift, just like when Roy started the foundation. It's gonna be a paradigm shift, because everybody saw the need for Blackshear Stadium, that Blackshear Field. And everybody ought to see a need. If I'm sitting up there and telling you, you don't believe it, go pull up your Timco. All this, I'm not making this up, it's out there. And all I'm doing is trying to hold them accountable. And it's my own people that look like me. From my elected officers to my board of directors, it's my own people. Now I understand why Jesus said a prophet has no honor in his own house. But it's okay, I can handle it. I can handle it. And so, we got the movement going. I get a call. Mark, I heard election time coming. What? They know everything that we do. Every move we make. And then I found out I got to meet with, I tell the city of Prairie I'm coming. Because I didn't like the way they bombarded an NAA press conference. Now I understand. Now I understand what's been going on to the city. The NAA should not be leading this effort. It should be the city of Prairie. Economic development. It ought to be the city of Prairie leading this effort, not the NAA. So you might make them aware. I'm coming to them too. It doesn't make no sense. You're not getting along in the city. You ain't getting along in the NAA. You're not even getting along in the university. And listen, to make if we're going to be successful, the NAA, the alums got to come together. The university got to come together. And God knows the city got to come together. And I just found out some information about the city, and I understand why. But you let the mayor know, I'm going to meet with him and his city council. All of them. Because what we're doing is economic development, and they should be leading this effort. So I'm going to shut down now. And the last thing that I want you to remember in that letter that I sent out, if you don't do nothing else, pray for me. Pray for me for strength. Pray for me for strength. So we got to get out of here. Come on, I'm going to take any questions right quick. If I got any questions.
There was one question going back to when you're talking about organizations. What are your thoughts on closing the ranks of those other organizations with the NAA?
Repeat that question one more time.
What are your thoughts on closing the ranks of those other organizations with the NAA?
So with the NAA, some of those organizations I'm talking about are 501c3, okay? The Panther Backers, okay? The Marching Stone Band, okay? Roll and for the Panther Backers, give me his name, the nickname for the Panther Backers. Anyway, Dino. Yeah, and so they 501c3, but I've reached out to them, hey, how can we work together? And that's part of that Panther support network. Right. So I am putting as many as I can under the NAA, just working together. I say, I don't need y'all to be under the NAA. How about let us work let's work together. Listen, I don't care if you got a different alumni group, association, everybody got one thing primary, this university. That's the primary. Right there. Any other questions?
No, that was the only one.
Come on, Brother Ron.
Yes, you said that the Texas Higher Education Code, all the members of the Texas A&M system are getting their fair share of what's supposed to be due them for Prairie now?
I cannot answer that. I only can talk about Prairie.
So my twofold, one is, with fundraising, so what are your thoughts in bringing in income, be it fundraising or whatever, for the next 5 years? Because if we're gonna run out of money, what are we gonna do in order to, since we know that ahead of time, what are we gonna do?
So in the bylaws, the NAA has fundraising committee.
Yes, sir.
I don't even whoever the chairman of the fundraising committee is responsible for bringing in funds. That's the answer to the question. We have a fundraising committee, and that chairman of the fundraising committee is responsible for raising funds. Yes, Dr. Rhoda.
Good afternoon. Is the board, have proposed for, is there a board proposal to change the bylaws to include officers elected to the board have a give component, meaning if you serve on the board, you have to bring in $1,000 or raise $1,000 or $500. That is the sign of a commitment to which your fundraiser goes. So that may be.
Let me elaborate on that. I brought that up at the beginning with the NAA Board of Directors, and they shot it down. Listen to me, the NAA, they just elect officers. That's it. Nobody brings nothing to the table. They're not required to bring anything to the table. So we're a 501c3 organization. That's the way it's set up. Lalana.
So, correction, each chapter pays an affiliation fee to the NAA.
So he was talking about the elected officers. I know the chapters pay an affiliation fee. Okay, he was talking about those elected officers, like the board of directors, the way the foundation is set up.
Well, the board of directors is made up of the chapter president.
Okay, he's talking about big money. You're talking about $450. What he's talking about is.
But we're bringing in something. It's not like nothing comes from the chapters. We all pay an affiliation fee. Agreed. So y'all pay affiliation fee, but where we are today, how long, and I don't know the answer to that question, but we've been paying the same affiliation fee for how many years? Fred?
It's about 10 years.
Okay. So what you have to understand, I work on several boards. I'm on the board of directors. It costs me money to sit in that seat. There's no election. It costs money to sit in that seat. And so that's something that the NAA, if they want to do it, that's something that has to be changed in the bylaw. But one thing I like about it, you sitting on that board, you pay your $10,000, I don't have to worry about you not doing your job. Because wherever your heart is, so will your money be. Next question, if there's a next one. Come on, Fred, close us out in prayer. Or Ms. Viola, you can close us out in prayer.
All right, then, well, thank you, Mark, for that. Thanks to those who are out in the YouTube audience as well, and for all of you who've come here today. We really appreciate it. So, Mr. Roberts, would you please close us out in prayer? Safe travels to everybody. Commencement tomorrow. Oh, and I do want to say, as a nurse, Happy Nurses Month. I want to say Happy Asian American Filipino Islander Month, and Happy, I'm one of these too, Older American Month. So either of you are in that category as well. Thank you.
If you got any kind of ailment, it's your month. Hey, this is mental health month too. Everybody comes up with something in the month. So what I like to say is, anything you want to cast in it is your month. It is your month. President Fall, before I give the prayer, I just want to mention when Brother Mark talked about UTEMCO. I don't know if you all have been watching the news lately. There is in the legislature now, they're trying to change it because they're angry that University of Texas is getting 2/3 of the permanent university fund. And Texas A&M gets 1/3, and they're supposed to share it with us. But by bringing those other schools in there, they are also getting support from the available university fund money, which is the interest that should be shared between Prairie and Texas A&M. But the other schools are getting benefits from that, but they can't get money from the permanent university fund. Brother Foss mentioned $66 billion. Well, now they're trying to change that fund. It's going to require constitutional change in order for them to create this new fund for these other universities. And so Prairie View is poised to do whatever is necessary with that fund, but to let President Fall stated, you gotta get involved, you gotta get involved in the voting. That's where it takes its precedence.
Okay, I
Yes.
just want to add to that, since you mentioned that. Okay. I just wanted to, thank you, Fred. I just wanted to add to that because in the November election, look for that to be on the ballot. They're looking at the PUF fund and out of UTEMCO, not only splitting the money with University of Texas and Texas A&M, but looking at 4 other universities in the state of Texas to elevate them to a higher level in terms of the higher level tier universities are rated. And those universities are University of North Texas, Texas Tech University, Texas State University, and University of Houston. Prairie View is not mentioned at all. So that's being worked right now in the 88th legislature. So look for that to be on the ballot in November.
Let us pray. Oh God, we give you thanks again for this day, for what we have heard here today, for trusting that it will touch all of us in a way that we would want to do more for our university and for our communities. Give us traveling grace as we meet here this evening, and we pray for those young students, young people who will become members of the alumni ranks tomorrow following the commencement services, that they would want to get involved in what we're doing for the strength of our university. These and other blessings we ask in His Son's name. Amen. Amen. Go in peace to love and serve the Lord.